Hi, this is Sri Priya Madan from Srishti Technology Labs. In this session, let us learn about arrays in Java. Let me explain how to declare, initialize and populate one-dimensional arrays and two-dimensional arrays. We will also walk through how to dynamically initialize arrays in Java. Arrays are reference data types in Java. That is, it is created by the user. So you need to allocate memory for that. Let us see how it is done. Let me start with one-dimensional arrays. How to declare it? Data type, variable name. The data type can be anything, whatever we have seen, the inbuilt data types. The brackets which are given after the variable name can be also added in front of the variable name. Let me show it with an example. Int marks, square brackets, or int square bracket marks. At this particular point, the value is null. After declaring, I need to allocate memory for my array by giving the size. So we are using a keyword called as new. New helps to allocate memory for your array, and the size is given within the square bracket. Let me show it with an example. Int marks, at this point the value is null. Marks is equal to new int of 3. It means the length of this array is 3. And what about the values in each allocation? The values will be 0 in all the 3 allocations. Why? It takes the default value of the data type you are using. Since you are using int, the value will be 0. If you are going to use string, the value is going to be null in all the 3 allocations. If you are using float, the value will be 0.0f in all the 3 allocations. What is the length of this array? The length is 3. The next step is to populate the array by giving my own values. How to do that? Marks of 0 is 90, marks of 1 60, marks of 2 is 70. Suppose say if I give marks of 3 is equal to 70. What will happen? Syntactically this line is correct. So during the compile time it will not give you any error. During the run time it will throw an exception saying array index out of bounds exception, because you are trying to allocate value out of the array. So this is how you declare, initialize and populate your array. While populating an array, you have to be very careful that array index out of bounds exception doesn't occur. Next is two-dimensional array. Two-dimensional array is like a matrix. You can also say that it is nothing but a stack of one-dimensional arrays put together. Here also to declare, you need to use data type, variable name, square brackets. The first square bracket depicts row, the second one depicts column. So here it is given clearly number of rows and number of columns. The declaration part goes like this: int marks square bracket, or you can add it in front of it, or one in front, one at the back. All the 3 are valid declarations. You are not supposed to give the length of the array inside the square bracket now itself. Why? At this point the value is null. Now while initializing, only when you use new keyword you are supposed to give the number of rows and the number of columns. So the number of rows are 3 and the number of columns are 2. It will take the default value 0. Now let me populate the array. I am populating the array with the values. So the values are added. If I try to give 3, 2, the allocation is not available. So it will throw array index out of bound exception. We will see a practical example for one-dimensional array and two-dimensional array using Eclipse, and how to iterate these values using a for each also. If I want to declare, initialize and populate these arrays in a single shot, how it can be done? You can see it here. Int square bracket marks is equal to new int of, don't give the size, instead give the values directly. Either you can provide the size and then populate them individually, or don't give the size, give the values directly. For two-dimensional array, new string of square bracket and give the values. So this is a matrix which is of size 2 by 2 and here it is 2 rows 3 columns. Next we are moving on to how to dynamically initialize an array. What is the meaning of dynamically initializing an array? Suppose say I know how many rows are there. I don't know how many columns are there. That is, my first row can have 2 columns, my second row can have 3 columns, my third row can have 4 columns. It may vary, not like a equal matrix. How to do that? Let me show you. So to start with, I am using int marks equal to new int of 3. There are 3 rows, but I don't know how many columns are there. So in that case, specify a empty square bracket. Then after that, I have to allocate memory for each and every row. As I told you earlier, a two-dimensional array is nothing but a stack of one-dimensional arrays put together. Marks of 0 is equal to new int of 2. It means the first row takes 2 columns. This declaration, if you see, it is similar to the declaration of your one-dimensional array. Now, marks of 1 is equal to new int of 3. So the first row has 3 columns. Marks of 2 is equal to new int of 2. So it has 2 columns. After declaring these, the values will be the default values of the data type. So it is going to be 0. Now you can populate the values as usual. 1 of 0, 40. I have populated, you can see it over here. 1 of 1 is 30. What about 1 of 3? I don't have 1 of 3, so it will throw array index out of bound exception. During the compile time it will escape, during the run time it will throw an exception. Suppose say I am commenting the last line, marks of 2 is equal to new int of 2. This part I am commenting. In this case, if I try to allocate value for 2 of 0, that is for this allocation, I have commented this line, so nothing is allocated. It is a open space, no memory is allocated, but I am trying to give value 2 of 0 is equal to 90. What will happen? What will be the output? Will it be 0 or null, or it will give a compiler error, or it will throw an exception? It will throw an exception. It is going to throw null pointer exception because you are trying to allocate value for a null allocation. You have not even allocated memory, but you are trying to give value, so it will throw null pointer exception. That's all for dynamic initialization of arrays. We will see this also with an example. Let me move on to the quiz. Int marks system.out.println marks of 4. What will be the output? It will throw null pointer exception. Why? Because you have just declared an array. You have not initialized the array by using new keyword. So memory is not allocated. You are trying to print a null allocated value. So it will throw null pointer exception. What will be the output for the second one? Int marks is equal to new int of 4. Marks of 4. What will be the output? The length of the array is only 4 and you are trying to print marks of 4. Since it is not available, it will throw array index out of bound exception. The third one, int marks is equal to new int of 4, trying to print marks of 2. What will be the output? It will take the default value of the data type being used, so the value will be 0. All these concepts which are explained here are shown practically using Eclipse IDE. You can refer to one-dimensional array, two-dimensional array examples. In the next session, let us learn about the control flow statements that are in Java. Thank you.